The first thing I heard on Christmas morning was my mother screaming my name like the house was on fire. Jason, Jason, wake up. I opened my eyes to the smell of fried meat and burnt pepper. For a second, I smiled. Christmas. I was home. I was 22, back from college, broke, tired, but happy to be under my parents' roof again. That smile died fast. There was pounding on the front door. Hard, angry, not the kind of knock that brings gifts. Open up, police. My heart dropped straight into my stomach. My father, Mark, stood frozen in the hallway, still wearing his red Christmas sweater. My mother, Linda, was shaking so badly she dropped the serving spoon. Grease splashed on the floor and no one cared. Jason, my dad said quietly, avoiding my eyes, just answer the door. I didn't understand anything yet. I thought maybe the neighbors complained about noise, or maybe someone got into an accident. Anything but what was about to happen. I opened the door. 2 police officers stood there. One tall, one short, both serious. No smiles, no Merry Christmas. Jason Miller, the tall one asked. Yes, I said, my voice cracked. You're under arrest for failure to pay for goods obtained under your name. What goods? I asked, confused. I didn't buy anything. The short officer held up a paper. 30 pounds of meat, beef, chicken, turkey, purchased 2 weeks ago from Green Valley Butcher. Payment never completed. I turned slowly and looked at my parents. My mother burst into tears. My father said nothing. That was the moment everything inside me broke. That's not mine, I said. I didn't buy any meat. I've been at school. I just came home yesterday. The tall officer sighed. The order was placed using your name, your phone number, and your student ID copy. I felt dizzy. That's impossible. My father finally spoke. Jason, we were going to tell you. My chest felt tight. Tell me what? He swallowed. We needed meat for Christmas. The butcher said we could pay later. He asked for a guarantor. I used your details. I stared at him. You what? It was just until after Christmas, my mother cried. We thought we could pay before anything happened. You thought, I shouted. You used my name. The short officer gently pulled out handcuffs. Please, my mother begged, grabbing the officer's arm. He's our son, it's Christmas. Ma'am, the officer said softly, step back. The cold metal closed around my wrists. That sound still haunts me. Click. I looked at my parents one last time before they walked me out of the house. The house smelled like celebration. Laughter was supposed to fill it. Instead, my neighbors watched as I was pushed into a police car like a criminal. Merry Christmas, Jason, my father said weakly. I didn't answer. The police station was cold and bright, too bright. My head throbbed. I kept replaying the moment in my mind, hoping it would change. It didn't. They took my belt, my shoelaces, my phone. I sat on a bench, hands shaking, trying not to cry. A drunk man in a Santa hat laughed from the corner. First time. I nodded. Christmas special, he said, burping. Hours passed. No call, no visit, no apology. When night came, they moved me to a cell. Concrete floor, metal bars, a thin mattress that smelled like sweat and regret. I lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to distant laughter from outside. Somewhere, families were opening gifts. Somewhere, my parents were eating the meat that put me in that cell. That thought made me laugh. A loud, broken laugh that scared even me. I wasn't angry yet. I was empty. The next morning, a guard slid a tray of food through the bars. Merry Christmas, he said without looking at me. Dry bread, cold eggs, water. I pushed the tray away. A man in the next cell leaned close. He was old, maybe 50, with tired eyes. What you in for, kid? I hesitated. Unpaid meat. He blinked, then laughed so hard he had to sit down. Man, that's a new one. My parents bought it, I said. They used my name. His laughter stopped. That's messed up. I nodded. That day, I finally got a call. My mother. "Jason, please," she cried the second I answered. "We're trying to fix it." "Trying," I said. "I'm in jail." "We didn't know it would get this bad." "You didn't know," I whispered. "You didn't know arrest was possible." Silence. Then my father's voice came on the line. "Son, be calm. We'll talk when you get out." "When?" I asked. "Soon," he said. The line went dead. Soon never felt so far away. Later that day, a public defender came to see me. Her name was Sarah. She had kind eyes but a tired face. "Jason," she said, sitting across from me, "I've reviewed your case." "And?" I asked. "You were used as a guarantor without consent," she said slowly. "That matters." My heart jumped. "So I can go home." "Not yet," she said, "but listen carefully." She leaned closer. "If we can prove identity misuse, your parents could be held responsible." I froze. "My parents?" I asked. "Yes," she said, "legally." I swallowed hard. My parents had always told me family comes first, blood over everything. But blood had put me in a cell on Christmas. "What happens to them?" I asked quietly. Sarah hesitated. "Fines, possible charges, civil liability." That night, I didn't sleep. I thought about every time my parents used my money, my name, my trust. I remembered my dad saying, "You're young, Jason. Your credit can recover." I remembered my mom saying, "We did this for the family." I finally understood something important. They never thought they'd pay the price. I was supposed to. The next morning, I stood up in my cell, my hands shaking, but not from fear. From clarity. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to survive this. And when I walked out of that place, I would do it quietly. Legally. Brutally. Not with fists. With truth. And paperwork. I sat back down, stared at the wall, and smiled for the first time since Christmas morning. When I was finally released on bail 3 days after Christmas, the sky looked different. Not brighter. Sharper. Like it could cut you if you weren't careful. My parents didn't come to pick me up. Sarah did. She handed me my phone and coat and said, "You should go somewhere safe." "Safe from who?" I asked. She looked at me for a long second. "From being talked out of protecting yourself." That was the first time someone had said that to me. She dropped me off 2 streets away from my parents' house. I didn't tell her I planned to walk the rest of the way. I needed to see it with my own eyes. The house looked normal. Lights on, curtains open, Christmas decorations still hanging like nothing had happened. I stood across the street, hands in my pockets, shaking, not from cold, from disbelief. They were home, eating, sleeping, laughing. While I had been sleeping on concrete. I walked up and knocked. No answer. I knocked again. My mother opened the door slowly. When she saw me, her face went pale. "Jason," she whispered. "I'm home," I said. She hugged me hard, crying into my chest. "Thank God, thank God." My father stood behind her, arms crossed. "You look fine," he said. That sentence almost broke me. We sat in the living room. No apology, no explanation, just silence, thick and uncomfortable. Finally, I spoke. "I talked to a lawyer." My mother stiffened. My father's jaw tightened. "She said what you did was illegal," I continued. "Identity misuse." My father leaned forward. "We're family." "That didn't stop you," I said. My mother wiped her eyes. "Jason, please don't do this." "Do what?" I asked. "Tell the truth." My father slammed his hand on the table. "You think jail was bad. You want to destroy this family." I looked at him calmly. "You already did." That night, I packed a bag and left. I moved in with my friend Alex. His mom didn't ask questions. She just gave me food and a blanket. For the first time since Christmas, I slept without nightmares. But every morning, my phone buzzed. Missed calls. Texts. "Jason, we're sorry. Please come home. Don't ruin us. You owe us loyalty. That last message made me laugh. I met Sarah again 2 days later. She spread documents across the table. They signed your name, she said, more than once. My stomach dropped. More. Yes, she said. Utility bills, a short-term loan, store credit. I felt sick. How much? I asked. She named the number. I stopped breathing. They've been using you for years, she said gently. That night, I confronted them again. My father didn't deny it this time. We raised you, he said. You wouldn't even have a name without us. You don't own my future, I said. My mother cried. If you file this, we could lose the house. I nodded. I lost my freedom. Silence. I walked out again. The paperwork process was slow, painful. Every signature felt like cutting off a piece of my past. But something strange happened. I started to feel lighter. Free. Then the letter arrived. A formal notice. Investigation opened. My parents called nonstop after that. My father yelled, my mother begged, my aunt threatened. You're selfish, she said. You're young, they're old. They're adults, I replied. The final blow came one evening when my father showed up at Alex's house. He looked smaller, angrier. You think you're smart, he said. You think this makes you strong. No, I said, it makes me honest. He stepped closer. I hope you can live with what you're doing. I looked him straight in the eye. I already did, I said, in a cell. He left without another word. A week later, Sarah called. Jason, she said, things are moving fast. My heart pounded. How fast? Fast enough that you need to decide something important. Decide what? She paused. How far you want this to go? I looked at the stack of papers on my desk. I thought about Christmas morning. The handcuffs. The smell of meat. Let it go all the way, I said. There was silence on the line. Then Sarah said quietly, okay. That night, I opened my laptop and began documenting everything. Every text. Every bill. Every lie. I wasn't angry anymore. I was focused. And that scared me more than rage ever could. Because focus doesn't burn out. It waits. And the people who put me in that cell had no idea how close they were to losing everything they built on my name. Not yet. But soon. The first official letter arrived on a Tuesday morning. It wasn't dramatic, no sirens, no shouting. Just an envelope. White, thick, serious. My father's name was printed on it. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. My hands didn't shake this time. That scared me. Inside was a notice from the investigation office. Formal words, legal language, deadly calm. Failure to respond may result in further action. I imagined my father reading it at the kitchen table. The same table where we used to pray before meals. The same table where he once told me, family protects family. I wondered if his hands were shaking. Mine weren't. That afternoon, my mother showed up unannounced at Alex's house. She looked older, smaller, like jail had aged her too, even though she never stepped inside. Jason, she said softly, please. I didn't invite her in. We stood on the porch. Your father can't sleep, she said. He barely eats. I almost laughed. Almost. I couldn't sleep either, I said. Remember. She wiped her eyes. We made a mistake. No, I said calmly. You made a choice. She reached for my hand. I pulled back. If this continues, she whispered, they could arrest your father. I looked at her, really looked. You let them arrest me. She opened her mouth, then closed it. That was answer enough. That night, my phone buzzed again. Dad, you're enjoying this. Dad, you always wanted to punish us. Dad, after all we sacrificed. I typed back one sentence. Me, stop using guilt like it's currency. He didn't reply. 2 days later, Sarah called again. They responded, she said. And, I asked. They denied everything. I smiled. That was exactly what I hoped she'd say. Denial meant lies. Lies meant proof. Proof meant consequences. Sarah continued. They claimed you gave verbal permission. I laughed out loud. At school, 2 states away. She laughed too. That's what I told them. Then her tone changed. They also hired a lawyer. That made my stomach tighten. Is that bad? I asked. It means they're scared, she said. That night I couldn't sleep, not from fear but from memories. I remembered being 16, signing something my dad pushed in front of me. Just a form, he'd said. I remembered my mom asking for my student ID, just in case. I remembered every moment I trusted them. I realized something painful. The arrest wasn't the beginning. It was the result. The investigation moved faster than I expected. An officer called me in for a formal statement. His name was Officer Reynolds, calm, professional. Tell me about Christmas, he said. So I did. Every detail. The knock. The smell of meat. The cuffs. He nodded, writing everything down. Did you benefit from the purchase? He asked. No, I said. I benefited from jail food. He almost smiled. Almost. When I left the station, I felt sick and strong at the same time. A strange mix. That evening, my younger sister Emily texted me. Why are you doing this? I stared at the screen. Me, I'm telling the truth. Emily, Mom is crying every day. Me, I cried alone in a cell. Emily, you're ruining Christmas forever. I paused. Then typed. Me, Christmas ruined me first. She didn't reply. A week later, another letter arrived. This one was worse. Court date scheduled. I sat on Alex's bed, letter in my hands, heart pounding. This was real now. No turning back. My father called that night. For the first time, his voice wasn't angry. It was scared. Jason, he said quietly, we can settle this. How? I asked. We'll pay the butcher, he said. We'll clear the debt. That's not the crime, I said. Silence. I raised you better than this. He whispered. I took a deep breath. You raised me to take blame, I said, not responsibility. He hung up. The day before court, Sarah met me for coffee. Once this starts, she said, your relationship with them may never recover. I stirred my drink slowly. It already didn't, I said. She nodded. I just needed to say it. That night, I walked past my parents' house. Lights off. Decorations gone. No Christmas tree. No laughter. Just shadows. For a moment, guilt crept in. Then I remembered the cell. The cold. The cuffs. The laughter from outside. Guilt left as fast as it came. The morning of court, my phone buzzed with one last message from my mother. Please stop, we'll do anything. I stared at the screen, then turned my phone off. As I walked toward the courthouse, my legs felt heavy, but my mind was clear. This wasn't revenge fueled by anger. It was revenge powered by truth. And truth doesn't scream. It waits. Behind documents. Behind signatures. Behind laws written for moments exactly like this. When I stepped inside the building, I saw my parents sitting on a bench. They didn't look at me. I didn't look away. The door to the courtroom opened. And everything was about to change. The courtroom was colder than the jail cell. Not in temperature. In silence. Everyone stood when the judge walked in. My parents stood too, slowly, like their bodies already knew the weight they were carrying. I stayed standing, eyes forward, heart steady. This time, I was not the one in handcuffs. The butcher testified first. He was nervous, wiping his hands on his apron even though he wasn't wearing one. "They promised to pay after Christmas," he said. "They said their son was the guarantor, a college boy, good future." He looked at me. Shame crossed his face. "I didn't know," he added quietly. "I swear I didn't know." Next came the documents. Printed, stacked heavy. Bills with my forged signature. Forms with my copied ID. Messages from my father's phone. Each paper landed on the desk like a slap. My mother cried openly now. My sister held her hand. My father stared straight ahead, jaw tight, eyes empty. Then it was my turn. I stood. My legs wanted to shake. They didn't. "I didn't report my parents because I hate them," I said. My voice echoed softly. "I reported them because they taught me to tell the truth." My father looked at me then. For the first time since Christmas. "I loved them," I continued. "I trusted them, and because of that trust, I spent Christmas in a cell for meat I didn't buy, eat, or agree to pay for." The judge listened. No emotion, just focus. "I lost my freedom," I said. "They lost nothing until now." I sat down. The judge adjusted his glasses. "Family does not excuse fraud," he said calmly. "Love does not cancel the law." The ruling came fast. Fines. Restitution. Probation. Mandatory repayment of every debt tied to my name. No prison. But something worse. Public record. My parents didn't cry when the judge finished. They just looked old. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Neighbors, people who used to wave at us. My mother tried to hug me. I stepped back. "I hope you're happy," my father said quietly. I looked at him. "I hope you're honest," I replied. I walked away alone. That night, I sat on Alex's couch, staring at my phone. Messages flooded in. Some called me brave. Some called me heartless. Some called me a monster. I turned the phone face down. For the first time in months, I slept deeply. No sirens. No bars. No guilt. Just silence. In the weeks that followed, my credit was restored. My record cleared. My future reopened. My parents sold the house to pay debts they hid behind my name. They moved somewhere smaller. Quieter. We don't talk now. Sometimes, on holidays, I still smell meat and feel my chest tighten. But then I remember something important. I survived. Legally. And what I did wasn't cruel. It was fair. Because revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it wears a suit. Sometimes it carries paperwork. And sometimes it starts with spending Christmas in a cell and ends with never letting anyone use your name again. Thanks for watching. Kindly drop your comment about this story. And please subscribe to this channel and on your notification for more interesting stories.